Wine and Crime contains graphic and explicit content which may not be suitable for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised.
You guys, it's breaking gals news. We are going back on tour with live in-person shows.
Oh my God.
It's only been several years since the last time we did that.
We're a little rusty. You're not going to want to miss this.
yeah, exactly. Please don't throw tomatoes at us. We are going to Texas, y'all.
Yeehaw!
How do you like me now?
Texas tea.
What's our first stop?
Ooh, well, first we're going to be in Houston on Wednesday, June 8th at White Oak Music Hall. We have absolutely loved this venue in the past. We can't wait to go back, and the doors for that show are at 7 p.m.
Yep, Wednesday, June 8th in Houston, 2022.
Yup.
The very next day, Thursday, June 9th, we're going to be in Austin.
Hauling ass to Austin in a van.
We love Austin. So that show is at the Stateside at the Paramount.
Ugh, love that venue
If you
so
know,
much.
you know. It's a great venue.
And last but not least, the gals are gonna do Dallas.
Oh, we're doing Dallas.
We got a live show at the Southside Music Hall Saturday, June 11th. So
Yes.
Dallas, we love to see you. You're a great town.
Yeah, and for tickets to any of these shows, you can head to our website, wineandcrimepodcast.com. These are up, they are for sale, and we want to see you.
We
Yes.
do. And if you have very specific questions about the shows or about the venue or tickets or parking, please contact the venues directly because we
know nothing.
know nothing. We barely know what we're doing, but we will be there on time.
Woohoo! Can't wait to see you in Texas.
See you soon.
You are listening to Wine and Crime, the podcast where three friends chug wine, chat true crime, and unleash their worst Minnesotan accent.
Oh, yeah, spring is sprang in Minnesota. All the spots where my dog was pooping are now beautiful patches of clover. With little purple flowers in them. They're just so cute.
Well, that's nice, she says as she wraps herself tighter in a blanket.
The thing is, it's actually quite warm outside, but my studio is in the basement and the ground is still cold. So it is a full,
Fridge.
12 degrees colder down here than it is on the main floor.
Wow.
I just put my heater on.
Wow.
It's a crazy world we're living in. So I'll be
I
able to
am-
shed the blanket shortly.
I have the opposite problem because I'm on the third floor. So
Yeah, you gotta go
it's
in the basement.
toasty.
Where it's always cold. Your dirt cellar could be your studio.
How lovely.
You could sprout your root vegetables and record your podcast.
And watch my sump pump.
Oh, yeah.
Pump your turd water.
So it's real wet here, too. And I was just outside pulling all the old stalks of my hostas out from last fall because you're supposed to wait till spring to do that. And my face was right. I didn't realize the sump pump pipe was right there. And I just heard... And then, all this gross water started gushing at me. I'm like, what the fuck
You
was
both
that?
have sump pumps?
Do you not?
No. We had one in Connecticut in our neighborhood in that house, but no houses in the Twin Cities have them because of the we're all on the same city plumbing shit. We don't need a sump pump.
Well, you're on city plumbing. The sump pump just welcome to our true crime podcast. Sorry,
We might be thinking of two different things.
Yeah, I think we are. You're thinking of a
Supposed to have
well.
a sump.
I'm not thinking of a well. I am definitely not thinking of a well.
Might be something to look into.
Anywho,
Might protect your foundation.
Okay. on a completely different note, while Amanda Googles sump pumps.
No, we don't have one. It's a small pump installed in the lowest part of a basement or crawl space. Its job is to keep the area under the building dry and to prevent it from flooding. So I should get one.
Yes.
We don't have one.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. I think I wasn't thinking of a sump pump. I was thinking of something else we had for like our wastewater. in
Something
Connecticut.
else.
Yeah, something else. Anyway, we solved it. I'm Amanda.
While
I'm sorry.
your feet are thumping.
While your feet are monking. And your mugs are blunking.
Okay, sorry guys.
Blunking.
This is what
And
you
your
get.
house is sinking.
Listen, that is not happening anymore because we had piers put in. So I resemble that remark,
You resemble it.
as they say in that one movie. It's a quote.
All right.
Okay.
What the fuck is going on?
I'm Kenyon. I have a sump pump.
I'm Lucy. I also have a sump pump.
I'm Amanda. I need to get a sump pump. I am keeping this webpage open so I can Google sump pump installation during someone else's segment.
Well, before you do that, we have a very special fan pick this week.
I can't believe
don't
us
know
at
why.
all.
I can't believe you.
I can't.
Okay, this is what happens when it's three best friends and we're all in our mid-30s.
Yep.
Our
get to the
Millennials
cry.
are sprouting. Let's wrap this up.
I'm sweating. Okay. My bra needs a sump pump. Okay.
God.
I'm kidding. I'm not wearing a bra. So, our fan pick this week is brought to you by. Oh, it's us.
It's sponsored.
Oh, right.
Sponsored by Rebecca Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
you
you,
so much,
Rebecca.
Rebecca.
I
Thanks,
love when people
Rebecca.
pay to sponsor an episode, but then they're like, pick whatever you want.
Pick
We're
your
like,
own topic.
okay,
Great.
diarrhea crimes, sump pump crimes.
We need a sump. Homeowner crimes.
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
That
Lots
will
of
be 8
walls.
hours long because of all of our
It's
complaining.
just bitching.
We're
It's
just gonna
just
complain the whole
Okay.
time.
American dream.
So Rebecca let us pick a topic, and we went for a dark one this week. We've got serial killers on the loose.
They're loose. The goose is loose.
So the way I interpreted this was at some point the serial killer is apprehended and in prison, and then later they are on the loose.
Oh, that's not how I
Okay.
It's not how I
Interpreted
did
that.
either.
Okay. Well, then we're going to get to it. So our wine crime pairing for serial killers on the loose.
I also improperly interpreted the ordering process through Winc Wine Club. So I paired Chop Shop Cabernet from Winc because obviously Chop Shop, the classic to go with serial killers. I love it. And I swore I ordered it. And then when I dug through my wine cabinet today, including accidentally bumping a very precarious wine bottle stacking situation and then sent them all crashing down, but nothing broke, thank God.
Okay.
I discovered I did not, in fact, order this wine, and I'm still pairing it because we announced that this was the pairing. It is the pairing. It's what you should be drinking if you're drinking along with us.
You should order it.
I just fucked up. So I forgot to order it, so I'm just super high instead, which is always a treat.
Mm-hmm.
But for those of you who followed directions and understood the assignment, unlike me, Winc Wine Club is one of our OG sponsors. They are amazing. They deliver wine to your door. They always have a phenomenal selection, which is probably why I forgot to put this in my cart because I was probably distracted by all of the other amazing wines that they have on there.
Shiny.
Yeah, I get wine overwhelmed because this website is that good. And if you have never ordered from them before, you should check them out. You can head to trywinc.com/gals. That's TRYWINC.com/GALS to get $20 off your first order. And you can order a la carte. You can just order basically like wine shopping online, but I cannot recommend highly enough becoming a member, because you get member pricing. If you forget to order your wine, they will make a selection based on your tastes and your preferences, and they'll just send you wine, and then you'll be like, oh my God, the wine.
I
that
love
is
all
here.
these bottles. I wonder why. Maybe it's because they all fit my taste profile.
It's like,
You can be very lazy with it. That's
yes,
the best part.
it's all the best things about an algorithm without any of the scary
Yeah.
things about an algorithm. It's the good parts of an algorithm. It's a wine-gorithm. So the
algorithm.
it's an algorithm.
Good one.
So the Chop Shop Cabernet is a classic California cab through and through. 100% Cabernet. It's going to be like medium to full bodied. You're going to get so much nice aromatic fruit on the nose, but it's also going to finish really nice and dry. It pairs so well with food. Like this is the one you want to whip out for like your barbecues, your steaks,
Burgers.
Yeah, burgers, mashed potatoes with garlic and like goat cheese in them, like really robust charcuteries
Summery,
and cheeses.
Real
Yeah.
foods.
And this is also a great one. I actually really love to serve Cabernet at like 52 degrees, which is just slightly chilled. It's really freaking tasty. I don't know why I love it so much. I'm not like putting ice in my wine, but it's actually really good to drink that way. But you can also pop this one early and you can decant it, because cabs are often like pretty tight right out of the bottle. So I recommend, if you're going to go ahead and drink this wine, even if you pour yourself a glass right away, pour a second glass and set it aside and drink it like an hour later and compare how different they taste, because the oxygen and how it opens everything up is going to like totally pull forward different flavors, kind of mellow out some of the tannins. It's just really amazing what oxygen science, man. It's nuts. A
You're
chemistry
so
occurs.
smart.
It's really cool. It's really fun to taste wine that way. So give that a try.
Fancy.
Yeah, yeah. She clocks in at, sorry, John, you're gonna have to make me sound like I'm smart, even though I'm not smart. Where's the ABV? Ba 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 ba. Sorry, John. Ba 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 ba. Where the fuck is it? I don't want to take a quiz. No, Chop Shop Cabernet. I was on.
Ready.
Oh,
Wow.
Nice crack. Okay.
Oh
a
my
bubble
God.
got in my nose.
Okay.
Nice crack.
Nice
All right.
crack. Cheers.
This is quite the start of an episode. So, Lucy, what is our background and maybe psych for serial killers on the loose?
Well, I do have some psych for us.
Woo!
I also want to start out by acknowledging that we have covered serial killers a few times in the
Oh,
past.
yeah. Multiple.
We got Eastern European serial killers, which was episode 92. Vampire serial killers, which was episode
I forgot about
104.
that one.
That was
Yeah.
a good
It
one.
was a weird one.
Yeah.
And also,
Good batch.
also Australian serial killers, which was 146. So
not to mention just all the
In general.
in general cases that involve serial killers that we've covered.
In
Yes.
Australian serial killers, I covered that lady who like fed her victims to like other people in like stews and curries.
Yeah.
There are a lot of wackadoos out there.
I love it. I
who
love
like
a good
to kill.
cannibal.
and some of them are on our Supreme Court. So
Yeah.
anyway, my notes are going to be probably repetitive as compared to other episodes, but I'm sure you can all deal with it. I'm also sure that no one's jumping from one serial killer episode to the next in our discography.
Unless they are one.
I also don't
Yes.
remember anything we or either of you say 20
Ever.
minutes after we say it. So this is all news to me,
Great.
honey.
Little
Yeah.
review.
Okay, great.
Okay, so the FBI has had several definitions of what a serial killer is, and this is from FBI.gov. Previous definitions of serial murder specified a certain number of murders varying from 2 victims all the way up to 10 victims.
So you could be a serial killer and only kill 2 people.
Well, these are all previous definitions. We'll get
Got
to their
it.
current
Okay.
definition.
Okay, okay.
This quantitative requirement distinguished a serial murder from other categories of murder, i.e. a single murder, a double murder, or a triple murder, because those have been used in the past too.
A single patty, a double patty, or a triple patty.
Or a
And
Baconator.
Lachelle's.
Or a quad,
A quad.
a quad stacker. When we were in college, Corey and his gross boyfriends would go, what do they call it? A McChublin.
Oh, what?
It's basically like 3 single burgers and then 2 McChickens, and they take them apart and just stack it
The patties and just keep
with bread in between.
1 and 2 buns, or keep the buns.
Well,
all the
like
buns.
you're not doubling up on buns. It'd be like bun, patty, bun, patty, bun, patty.
I feel like I need to take insulin just hearing this. I'm gonna vomit.
Yeah, I think we've solved his gallbladder problem.
McChublin.
It's not great.
So the FBI has defined a McChublin as a crime.
Oh, it made my eyes water.
Yuck. Your bright orange nails, too.
You guys, my gag reflex is muy sensitivo.
Muy sativa.
Yeah. No, muy it is sativa today. You were right.
I just took a gummy, too, which is also sativa. So right around your segment, I might be a little weird, too.
Oh, great.
To the moon.
Great.
Here we go, baby. Okay. Most of the definitions also required a period of time between the murders. So we talked about this in spree killings.
The cooling off period.
The cooling off. So this
Cool down.
break-in time was necessary to distinguish between a mass murder and a serial murder. Serial murder required a temporal separation between different murders, which is described as separate occasions, cooling off period, and emotional cooling off period.
Anyone else
cooling
really
off
want
period
tempura?
Could be, I'm skipping past that. Could be any amount of, it could be less, a day. It doesn't have to be.
Yeah, could it be 3 days or 3 weeks, 3 years?
I think it kind of depends on their MO, what they were doing during that time. If they were legitimately removed themselves from the mindset that they get, the mania that they get in when they're committing their crimes.
Didn't we also discuss this in the spree killer, where in a spree killing, there's no, it's rapid bang, bang, bang. There's no cooling off period. That's a murder every day, or multiple murders in a day.
Correct.
But then with a serial killer, it seems I don't know. To me, it's longer term commitment over time.
Yeah. So these definitions, they shift. And this specific article that I taking my FBI notes from was regarding a symposium, I think in 2022. They get all their experts together every so often, and they have discussion groups to talk about.
Why are we not invited to that?
Because we are not experts, as we've demonstrated.
I think 5 years in, we're fucking experts. Where's our honorary doctorate from FBI University?
Can you imagine if we ever got an honorary doctorate? Zach would be pissed.
Yeah.
If anyone out there knows how to get us an honorary doctorate to make Kenyon's husband mad,
my husband,
please
who
hit
has
us
been
up.
diligently working his tail off towards an actual doctorate for years, and if I got an honorary one, he would flip.
I can print us off certificates like I made for our
No,
get
I want a
together.
It
real
has
one.
to be real.
Yeah, I want to be a doctor.
Oh, yeah.
I want people to
It has to be a
to
real
address me
honorary
as
doctor.
I want a real honorary doctorate.
Fucking Taylor
Exactly.
Swift just got one. Why can't we get one?
We're
What?
totally on that level.
Yeah, she got one.
For God's sakes. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Fine.
Generally, mass murder was described as a number of murders, which was 4 or more occurring during the same incident, with no distinctive time period between the murders. So at this specific symposium, they decided on this as the official FBI definition of a serial murder is, quote, the unlawful killing of 2 or more victims by the same offender or offenders in separate events.
Okay, that makes sense. That works for me.
We're down to 2 minimum separate incidents.
Events.
Okay.
Right.
Symposium attendees agreed that there is no single identifiable cause or factor that leads to the development of a serial killer. Rather, there are a multitude of factors that contribute to their development. The most significant factor is the killer's personal decision in choosing to pursue their crimes.
Yeah, so you
So
can't
the-
just always blame the parents or whatever.
No.
Obviously trauma impacts people's psychology.
Yeah, but at
like,
the end of the day, you haven't broken a crime till you broken the law till you break the law. So
Right.
there were several additional observations made by the attendees regarding causality, which include predisposition to serial killing, much like other violent offenses, is biological, social, and physiological in nature and is not limited to any specific characteristic or trait or gender or religion or what all that stuff.
Okay, I thought you were going to say that a predisposition to serial killing is caused by a predisposition to serial
I
killing.
did start to read it that way.
do not take
I'm sorry.
Zantiva and
If
you're
are
allergic to
serial
Zantiva.
kill Tiva.
I wrote my notes like a week ago. I forgot that I did
We're
it
all
this
good.
way.
It's fine.
So I'm sorry.
fine.
I'm sorry. I started laughing
It's okay.
before you got to the end because I was like, yeah, duh.
These observations made by experts at the symposium.
Yeah, where is our honorary doctorate for real? This is bullshit.
Also, the development of a serial killer involves a combination of these factors which exist together in a rare confluence in certain individuals. They have the appropriate biological disposition molded by their psychological makeup, which is present at a critical time in their social development. So it's all these factors happening at just the right time might make a person predisposed to
I am telling
violence.
you right now, all these pandemic babies and pandemic toddlers, we are going to have a serial killer boom
I
in
think
20
so.
years.
Yeah.
Mark my words.
Yeah, their social,
God willing, I'll be dead.
social
but-
advancement is not.
Yeah, maybe. They're going to be effects. I don't know if it'll go to
it's
serial
happening.
killing.
I do.
We can only hope.
Hey, listen. We'll start a pool. We'll start a money pool now. 20 years, serial killer boom.
Okay.
Put $10 on it.
Okay. There are
I
no
don't know how
specific
betting works.
There are no specific combinations of traits or characteristics shown to differentiate serial killers from other violent offenders. So it's not like the difference between a serial killer and, a serial rapist or something is just what they're doing. It has nothing to do with these factors.
Mm-hmm.
And the majority of serial killers who are sexually motivated have eroticized violence during their development. So for them, violence and sexual gratification are inexplicably intertwined, inexplicably
Like
intertwined
linked.
in their psyche.
So the majority of serial killers have this.
The majority
eroticized
of
thing.
serial killers who are sexually motivated.
So this
Okay.
is like
A category.
describing Ed Kemper to a T. This
Right.
like childhood trauma surrounding his mother and the eroticized link
Yeah.
to like the sexualization of his mother and then applying all of that trauma repetitively on like sex workers and other innocent
Also Ed Gein, also John Wayne Gacy.
women.
They had issues with their mothers
Dahmer.
and eroticism.
All those motherfuckers.
Likely, well, Bundy. 'cause-
Bundy deffed it.
Yeah.
He hated his mother.
Well, and he thought she was his sister for a while, and then they
Yeah.
were like, "Surprise, she's your
That's right.
mom."
That was messy. I need Zac Efron to remind me about that story.
I know we just referred to a bunch of mothers, but it's not always mothers. It's just
of course not.
eroticizing
Yeah.
violence
Right.
at a young age. So a lot of times your mother
Killing
is your
animals
primary, your opposite sex parent, Okay, so these attendees identified certain traits that are common to serial murderers, including sensation seeking, a lack of remorse or guilt, impulsivity, the need for control, and predatory behavior. And these traits and behaviors are consistent with the psychopathic personality disorder. We've also done our psychopathy and sociopathy episode. That was so interesting. I love it so much. So psychopathy, as a reminder, is a personality disorder manifested in people who use a mixture of charm, manipulation, intimidation, and occasionally violence to control others in order to satisfy their own selfish needs. So,
Hello, it's me.
oh my God, you are kind of a psycho. Which is good to note that all psychopaths do not become serial murderers. Rather, serial murderers may possess some or many of the traits consistent with psychopathy, but psychopaths who do commit serial murder do not value human life and are extremely callous in their interactions with their victims. This is particularly evident in sexually motivated serial killers who repeatedly target, stalk, assault, and kill without a sense of remorse. However, psychopathy alone does not explain the motivations of a serial killer.
A lot of psychopaths become CEOs or politicians.
Doctors.
Or
They make great
DJs.
surgeons.
It's just
DJs for sure.
DJs, yeah.
They make great surgeons because they
Yeah.
don't have as much like fear or
Yeah, how could you
emotional attachment to their
possibly
patients.
go home at night if you were
Dealing
as
with,
emotionally
terminal
invested in
cancer
every
patients
single
every day.
case?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So in terms of motivation of serial killers, we can kind of parse it out into 4 categories. The first is visionary. So the murderer believes that they are being told to kill by a person or an entity.
So Son of Sam.
Son of Sam
Right.
with the dog, whatever.
Okay, I'm going to take this like a quiz. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have mission oriented, and this killer kills in order to erase a certain group from society.
Okay.
So like the mosque shooting, like the Christchurch shooting.
Uh-huh.
That was a mass killing. That wasn't a serial
I
killing.
covered
but
someone who was racist, or also like even ones who don't sexually assault their victims, but they like go after sex workers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are a lot of like the like horror, whatever,
Right.
religious bullshit.
Yep.
Yeah. And these can also overlap, of course. Then we have a hedonistic killers, and they kill for their own pleasure. This is usually sexual in nature, but it's also comfort or thrill seeking.
So kind of a Dahmer situation, or like this would be like a Geen or a
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
even like BTK. I feel like falls in this
Oh,
category.
yeah.
Where it's like
Or the last
just-
category, which we're
Yeah.
about to get to.
Golden State Killer. The
Yeah.
thrill seeking, the
The
sexual.
thrill
Yeah.
of the hunt, not
Real
getting
Golden
caught.
State Killer.
Yeah.
Fucking Green River, what's his face? That
Yep.
fucking guy. Ugh.
Okay, and then the last category is power or control, and this person fantasizes about having power over another person, which I think
I think
kind
that's
of
more
applies to all of
BTK.
these.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this feels like a Manson family kind of category too.
Or like ones who like target couples and make one member of the couple watch.
Right, Zodiac did that
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Ugh.
And Golden State Killer also.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
so weird how like there's all these, categories, but there are so many killers that have all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
I would argue most of them are overlapped.
oh yeah.
And also,
Yeah.
there are things about somebody's psyche, even if they're fully willing to divulge everything, you're still never going to know 100% what motivations are.
And any sexual crime is also motivated about having power over another person, power
Exactly.
and control. So
Yep. So, okay, here's where we get to the serial killers on the loose, which I had interpreted as, okay, we know there's a killer out there. We know their MO. We just don't know who they are. They haven't been caught yet.
That's
Okay.
how I interpreted it.
all right, that'll fit too. Great.
So, statistically speaking, today, 40% of all murders go unsolved. Great. So that's horrifying, but based
But
on
there are a lot of once-offs.
Yeah.
You're more likely to get caught the more you do it.
And a
obviously.
lot of ones where it's like, we know who did it, but we can't prove it.
Prove it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
yeah, I'm just talking about all murders in
Right.
general.
Right. I'm just comforting myself.
But
Yeah, as I stroke my hair. So I'm just getting increasingly more high as we talk about this really fucked up shit.
40%
It gets
of
more
all
fucked up.
people are secretly bananas.
Yes. You're just 100 bananas in a trench coat.
Isn't it like the
blue
39
hair.
times podcast where like statistically
36.
every 36 every like 36th person you walk by is a murderer or
No,
some
it's they
shit.
say you've come into contact with about 36 murderers in your lifetime.
Got it.
Right.
That's way less scary. Okay.
We'll get to it, honey.
Oh,
I don't
good.
know if that podcast still exists.
I don't know if it does either.
Yeah.
Okay, so based on 40%, well, I guess it's like 61.6% clearance rate now. But based on what we know now about what was going on in the year of our Lord 1987, we can estimate that there were at the time about 128 now convicted serial killers operating in the United States.
Like on the loose, the year we were born.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah,
we
yeah,
should
yeah.
have died so many
Oh,
times.
the amount of times that we were just roaming, no one knew where the fuck we were.
the
in the dark.
90s, man.
The early
Yeah.
2000s.
And like our parents
Taking a bus
weren't
downtown.
neglectful. Like
Not
that
at all.
that was just standard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you just gotta let them run loose now and then. We're
Yeah.
fine. I mean,
Clearly,
Think
we're
about how
fine.
many just
Physically.
like strange men that we interacted with.
So many.
remember that guy on the bus with the Colt 45 in the paper bag, and we thought he was so cool.
Yeah. Yep. On our
Turns
way
out-
to and from dance class.
He gave us a mixtape.
Yep.
Poor guy. Turns out he was so depressed, probably.
Oh, I think he was shit-faced, so not super safe for a 14-year-old girls on the
It was
bus.
amazing. I
It's-
love it.
And Scott.
Fine. It's fine.
Mhm.
Okay. Experts estimate that there are more than 2,000 active serial killers in the United States today. Because that
What?
that 128 number was only the ones that they caught.
Oh, 2,000?
That's what experts estimate. Yeah. So the United States has historically had more serial killers than any other country. And maybe it has to do with our lack of gun control,
Yeah. Lack
Lack
of mental health care.
lots of social
Poor
services
education.
gone
Yeah.
to the wayside.
Low, yeah.
Flawed justice
Low social
system.
services.
Mm-hmm.
Parents sending their kids to dance lessons downtown.
Exactly. Exactly.
Lot of factors that
Lots
are
of factors.
actually resolvable.
Do you want to take a guess at the state with the highest rate of serial murders?
Per capita?
Washington.
Well, that's your guess.
California.
The highest rate of serial murders. Different
I
from
guessed.
number of serial killers.
So,
Oh.
like, where people are killed by serial murderers
Per
the most.
capita.
Yeah, like the rate.
All right, I want to change my answer. Florida.
Okay.
Oh. Alaska.
Alaska.
Is
You're
it?
right. Uh-huh.
Nice.
They have the highest
Nice.
rate of serial killings at 7.01 per 100,000.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Israel Keys did a lot of stuff up in Alaska, right?
He sure did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, that guy who captured women and then like set them loose in the woods and like hunted them.
The airplane
Oh,
guy.
God.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was
That's
it all
horrific.
women or was it all sorts of people?
I believe women, but I don't know for sure.
Yep,
I have like
Ugh.
a terrible memory with this stuff.
Also, sorry, I'm like constantly wiping my nose. The sun and like things finally started blooming today, and my allergies are fucking nuts.
Yeah,
You
my
also have a
allergies
lot
are
of
bad
pets.
too, which is why I'm also like scratching my face a lot. My face is really itchy.
I'm
right
not
now.
allergic to my pets. It's always this time of year where everything starts to leak when everything's like finally blooming outside.
All the male sperm trees.
Yup,
Yep.
because of fucking environmental misogyny. Another episode for another day.
And I have heartburn.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And a
let's-
sump pump.
Let's continue. And a sump pump. So Alaska has the highest rate of serial killings, followed by Louisiana.
Wow.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. California has the highest number of serial killings total, like quantitative. This must just be within like a certain amount of time. I don't
I think
know
I
why
read something too that California has produced one of the highest numbers of serial killers. Like they were from California.
It's also just got a big
because it's such a huge,
population.
yeah, it's
yeah,
a
they
huge
just
state.
have a lot of people.
I
yeah.
think Alaska was also high on that list. It was like Alaska, California, Florida, Wisconsin were like the top 4 for where serial killers were from originally.
Mhm.
I feel like I got that somewhere. Whatever. Well, I'm just gonna keep going.
During the period of study.
Yeah.
Yes. During this period of study, California had the highest number of serial killings with 1,628, followed by Texas in second place at 893. So California has like double the number as
Lot
number
more
2.
people.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, more room to roam.
Texas has a lot of people too.
That's true.
Yeah. And places and like rural areas to dump
Rural jurors.
Yep.
bodies. Yeah.
The state average number of serial killing victims, average across all states, each state is 225.9.
In each state, on average, 225.9 people are murdered by serial killers.
Not like per year, but like
In total.
ever. Yeah.
I
That's
think that's
wild.
ever. This must be ever. Numbers ever. 1,600 serial killings in California.
Or it was
That
just
they-
a
that
long
they can-
period of study. It could be like 4 decades, you know.
Mhm.
Well, also these are stats from the FBI, I believe, and because they keep changing their definition of what a
Right.
serial killer is, it's hard to.
They don't even know.
They're doing. They have to redefine it for research purposes. So
Yeah.
yeah. all 50 states have had a notorious serial killer. For example, apparently Ted Bundy was from Florida.
Nope.
Wasn't he?
No.
Originally?
I don't think so.
Well, maybe they've
Gonna
just
find out.
they've just operated in these states.
Ted Bundy born.
He
And
was
then-
killed in Florida. He was born in Vermont.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then John Wayne Gacy operated in Illinois.
Okay, then yeah, that must be what that means.
And then Charles Edmund Cullen operated in New Jersey. So no one is safe anywhere. The 70s and 80s saw a 70s. The 70s
and artists.
The 70s and 80s saw a shit ton of serial killers, and those numbers have actually dropped about 85% in the past 30 years. So
It's
we
gonna
have
be back, I'm telling you.
fewer serial killers out there, even though they estimate there could be as many as 2,000 operating right now.
We're due, honey.
Well, when abortion rates drop, legal abortion rates drop, crime rates increase 20 years later.
funny how that works.
Yeah, weird. Correlation or something. The FBI now says that serial killers account for fewer than 1% of all killings. Several reasons are commonly cited for this decline, among them longer prison sentences and a reduction in parole. So many serial killers are convicted murderers who, after serving time, will get out and kill again.
We will get to it.
Nice. So now we just grant parole a lot less, so there's less chances for killers to get out and kill again.
And probably because of advances in DNA technology and like communication between.
My next sentence.
There we go.
Better forensic science is also credited as our cultural and technological shifts. So we have less hitchhiking, although hitchhiking is not inherently dangerous. It was just a bunch of bullshit from the FBI to sell more cars. I really liked that episode.
Take that with a grain of salt. Okay.
It's not inherently
firmly
dangerous.
disagree. It's fine. It's fine.
You are your mother's child, though.
I'd pick up a hitchhiker. Let's go.
My parents always pick up hitchhikers.
And they're not dead.
They're fine.
The hitchhikers are, but not them.
So we have
They're fine.
we have less hitchhiking. We have more so-called helicopter parents.
Yeah, that's true. That sucks.
And in our country, we have 60 million security cameras. So you're
And
going to get
counting.
away with it less. You're going to try it, maybe not, less.
We are in a surveillance state, okay? It is everywhere.
But-
you got a phone. You got a computer. Everybody's being tracked. You got
Everybody's
nanobots.
got a ring camera.
You got it's just get the vaccine. You're being tracked anyway. It's
Fine.
just go ahead.
Fucking whatever. But as I said before, statistically speaking, the clearance rate for murderers today is only about 61%. But in 1965, the clearance rate was 91%.
Yeah, because all they had to do was find a person of color
Yeah,
to
it
walk
was you.
away.
Right.
It was
Exactly.
much easier to pin it on someone.
Funny how that worked out.
Okay, so I found a really great article from The Atlantic about the proliferation of serial killers today. And here we go. Some experts believe that serial killers are responsible for a significant number of unsolved murders. Thomas Hargrove, founder of the Murder Accountability Project, love that. This is a nonprofit that compiles data on homicide, has examined how many unsolved murders are linked by DNA evidence. He believes that at least 2% of murders are committed by serial offenders, translating to about 2,100 unidentified serial killers.
That makes perfect sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, what is the likelihood that there are that many more once-off murderers with no identifiable personal connection to their victims?
You just find a random dead body,
Yeah.
and you've already discounted people in their lives.
Right.
It must have just been a random killing, and
Yeah.
people don't just go do that once.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. Also, do you remember a few years ago when they caught that Samuel Little,
Yes.
that guy who was a big time serial killer, but they
Yes.
only just caught him recently?
Yes.
They think he might be responsible for hundreds of murders.
It's really,
Wow.
really scary. Yeah.
Oh yes, I
They
am.
just
I am
fucking
remembering
caught
this
him.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We will get to it. My guy is responsible for, I don't even know, almost 10 at least. I have to look.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Amazing. Michael Arntfeld, a retired police detective and author of 12 books on serial murder, agrees that the FBI's projections are off. He blames patchy data, among other things, but he thinks the number of active serial killers is more like 3,000 or 4,000. So he's got way higher numbers.
I mean, I think it's probably really high. Like, I was just watching the clown guy.
John
fucking
Wayne
clown
Gacy.
guy. The John Wayne Gacy tapes. And this is someone who, like, fucking loved to give interviews and talk about himself. And he still didn't confess or give information on. We still are not 100% sure how many young boys he killed. It could be, they estimate it's like 35 or something, but it could be 50.
It could be way more. They also haven't identified all the people
Think
that they
about-
did find.
Think about how many missing sex workers,
Yep.
trans kids, LGBTQ plus homeless people, indigenous people, especially women, are missing
Yep.
and not actively investigated.
Yeah. It's just
People are getting away with sick
I would
people
agree
are getting
with
away
them.
with a lot.
I would agree with what this guy said that it's likely 4,000 plus.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the stats, but why not?
Yeah, why
Right.
not? It's possible that today's serial killers, quote, have benefited from the falling clearance rate, which Arntfeld attributes to a handful of factors. Could also benefit from increased expertise. So these killers have studied other murderers' mistakes and they know how to fool cops, for example, by planting false evidence. Look at our show.
Yeah.
I know, lots of tips and tricks.
I could get away with it probably.
Bury remains under environmentally protected plants. Bury remains 6 feet under a dog or a deer.
Okay, let's.
Don't bury remains at all. You dry
Don't
that
bury
shit out. You
remains
get
at
some
all.
dermicid beetles. Once it's bone, you dry those bones out. You smash it up
Pigs.
with some cinder
Okay.
blocks. Let it blow away in the wind.
All
Pigs.
right.
Nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
Never gonna
Acid.
piece that together.
That's enough.
Dissolve them in a barrel. Some sort of plastic drum.
I mean, honestly, the people who get away with it the most are the ones that don't even bother. They just leave them.
Yeah, like that fucker who's out. That's like the Colonial Expressway. They just leave
They just leave them.
them on the side of the road.
We'll
Yeah.
get to some of that.
Jesus. Okay. Could also be benefiting from constrained resources. So thanks to stagnant salaries, detectives in some areas may be less qualified than their predecessors. So maybe the
have-
cops
See,
just
capitalism?
fucking suck. 'Cause they're
More
not
shit
being-
on their books.
Yeah.
Not testing rape kits.
Oh, yeah. They just want to fucking close cases. It's like there's no motivation for actual justice to be served.
Or for like cases that take a lot of time and energy and focus.
They
People are
could
spread too thin.
They could also be benefiting from growing social isolation, which can make potential victims more vulnerable. Oh, we met on Match.com. Of course I want to meet up and have a picnic. I haven't seen anyone in 6 months. And greater geographic mobility. So Israel Keys, for example. And this can make the dots a lot harder to connect
Right. We can bounce around super easily now.
Right.
all over the world.
Yeah.
Shit.
So here's...
Kenyon's been doing it for years. How many
Yeah.
bodies have you left in your wake?
Exactly. Why do you think I didn't share any of my tips or tricks earlier?
That's why I started sweating when I brought up the Beatles.
Yeah, you guys are showing my hand. Shut it down.
Okay, back to this Atlantic article. As an FBI press release put it in 2016, quote, if there is such a thing as an ideal profession for a serial killer, it may well be a long-haul truck driver.
Oh,
I am
we'll get to
always
it.
fucking petrified when I have to like use the bathroom at a truck stop or a rest stop like that, like on the freeway. I'm always like, I usually will make like Zach go first if he has to pee, and I'll wait in the car. And then
Why
when
do you go to
he's
truck?
done,
Just go to a gas station like a normal person.
like if we're driving on a long distance
I mean,
road
you're
trip and you gotta
just-
pee, and that's where you gotta pee.
You're just as likely to get snatched by a truck driver at a gas station on a highway
Well, you
as
can
you are a
get
truck
snacks.
stop on a
They
highway.
have snacks. They have
Yeah,
scratch
always
tickets.
go to his-
Sometimes
Yes,
you gotta
yes.
pee, and sometimes the truck stops have like, you know, restaurants in them, or they have vending machines in them, whatever.
I guess. I grew
But
up
anyway.
with truck drivers, so I'm not like
I'm not blaming all truck drivers.
instinctively
We've
afraid
already
of
Yes,
them.
all truck drivers.
we had a truckers episode sponsored by a trucker. Like that's great, but
Your job is great, and you're more likely to kill someone.
I'm petrified at truck stops bathrooms because it's a good place to grab somebody.
Yep. And as I will continue to illustrate here.
I grab myself in truck stop bathrooms all the time.
God.
Ew. Can you imagine a less sexy place?
Ew.
To grab yourself.
Ugh. They do have
I
showers.
like to give myself a good honk at a gas station.
Strange
Okay.
smells, broken tiles,
Free
leaky
smells.
faucets.
Ugh. You gotta start going to the
Did you
good
really
truck
say
stops.
Free smells.
No, I said.
What did you say?
I don't know. Weird smells. I don't know. I don't think I said free smells.
Like Jimmy John's has free smells.
I have been ordering a lot of Jimmy John's, so maybe I
had it for
subconsciously
lunch
said
today.
Free smell.
They don't charge.
Just like muddy paper towels on the floor.
Yep. Oh yeah. Just smells like dollar store detergent, bleach.
Oh.
You're lucky if it smells like bleach.
Okay. Truckers appeared on the FBI's radar more than a decade ago when an investigation revealed that women were being murdered along the I-40 corridor. Since then, the FBI's Highway Serial Killings Initiative, they have a whole initiative about this, has investigated the murders of more than 750 victims found near highways and identified nearly 450 potential suspects, a disproportionate number of whom are truck drivers.
Cool.
The victims,
my guy's a truck driver with
Amazing.
highway killings, so you're nailing it.
Yeah.
Wow.
The victims in these cases are primarily women who are living high risk transient lifestyles. These are not my words.
Okay.
They are
so
the FBI's words.
FBI is victim blaming. Got it. Got it.
They're frequently picked up at truck stops or service stations.
Yeah.
Mike Amott, the founder of Radford University's Serial Killer Information Center, says truckers are well positioned to evade detection. Quote, the more locations you're operating in, the more difficult it is for law enforcement to see a link, as we said about the geographical, the traveling, the Israel Keys thing.
Maybe all of their routes should be stored in one database that the police have access to so they can track where the truckers have been and are going.
I mean, there's a shit load of trucks out there.
Yeah.
Nobody
But
has the
you
resources to do that.
I mean, the trucks are being tracked unless they're independently owned. All of those trucks are being tracked because the trucking companies don't want to pay extra for gas that they don't have to. They're tracking where their merchandise is going.
Well, yeah.
All of them.
Yeah, they're being tracked, but to have them in one database for law enforcement, maybe.
Just saying.
Yeah. Of course, would-be homicidal maniacs lurk in all kinds of jobs. Ted Bundy was a law student. Sam Little was a boxer and an ambulance attendant. In his book, Murder in Plain English, Arndt Field breaks down the top serial killer professions and finds that truckers are joined by police and military personnel, forestry workers, hotel porters, and warehouse managers, among others. In each case, the problem isn't so much the people who fill the job, but the job itself. Mm-hmm. The key question, Arnold told the author, is whether a given vocation's duties hinder or enable killing on the side. The gas station attendant has no opportunity, whereas the long-haul trucker has lots of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
My guy was so busy killing, I don't think he ever held down a job.
Great.
I don't even know where his fucking money came from.
I'm trying to figure out if podcasting enables or inhibits.
Enables.
'Cause I never leave my house, so I think for me personally, it inhibits. And I have a job
Well, you
that
could leave your house.
I could, but I personally
But then would you
don't.
be a podcaster?
Okay, so I am a podcaster, and I don't leave my house. So applying this specifically to me, this inhibits because I don't have opportunities to come in contact with people.
You don't have the excuse also to leave
Right,
your
to
house
leave.
for
I don't
like
have-
long stretches of time. That's
Exactly.
that.
Like
Okay, I
if-
see what you're saying there.
Bill would know. Like I don't go anywhere. So if I
But
was
if you
out
were
of town,
single-
if I was single, then I could get away with it. Sure, but
I think it totally enables me anyway, because my search history has shown me some shit.
in that way,
And I would
it
otherwise
enables-
be on a list.
In that way, and it enables in that specific regard, because it would be easy to argue that any macabre thing in our search history is for the purposes of our podcast.
Right.
But that wouldn't apply to every podcaster.
Correct. Yeah. If you had a non-true crime podcast, then...
And then again, if you had a true crime podcast that does like take you all around the world studying or around the country, Josh Hallmark studying Israel Keys.
Patrick.
He could, yeah. Y'all could easily be serial killers.
All right. Well,
Great enabler.
Let's cast more aspersions after the ad break.
Okay.
All right.
I just want to get sued for defamation.
We're so
well
close.
on your
Boudet
way.
is definitely a serial killer. Moving on.
Credit card debt, not great. Don't like it. Anxiety inducing. You got heartburn. You got the night sweats. You just don't want to look at your credit card bill.
Yep, but you can't just close your eyes to it.
You really can't. So we have all been there. Seemingly out of nowhere, you get hit by an unexpected expense or a bill. And when that happens, it can feel like the weight of the world is just squarely on your shoulders. And it's normal to not know where to turn. And luckily, Upstart is here to help you.
So Upstart-powered personal loans can help you pay down high-interest debt all online with simple and easy-to-understand payment terms. Upstart has helped over 1.8 million customers on their path to financial freedom. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, Upstart can help you get one fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Upstart knows you're more than just your credit score, so rather than looking at your credit score alone, Upstart's model considers other factors like your income, employment, and other information provided in your loan application to find you a smarter rate for your loan. You can check your rate in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000 without impacting your credit score. You can even receive funds as fast as one business day after accepting your loan.
Ugh, imagine the relief. So don't wait and check your rate today at upstart.com/gals, G-A-L-S. That's upstart.com/gals to check your rate today. Don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Go to upstart.com/gals. Variety is indeed the spice of life, and you are allowed to switch things up whenever you feel like it. Maybe yesterday you were jamming to country music, but today you are deep into a throwback playlist. Maybe you're listening to Wizard Women of the North.
Yeah, and
While
then you go
cleaning your
straight
kitchen.
into like a Kesha, circa 2008.
I mean, that's a beautiful balance in my mind. So your go-to dessert is usually creme brulee, but today maybe you could really go for a slice of cake. And with Dipsy, you can always choose what feels good to you in the moment.
So Dipsy is an app full of hundreds of short, sexy audio stories. These are designed by women, and they are for everyone who wants to get turned on. They bring scenarios to life with immersive soundscapes and characters. No matter who you're into or what turns you on, there's tons of variety. You can
There's
kind
accents.
There are accents you can explore. There's a lot of like queer stories, LGBTQ+, BIPOC characters. It's variety is the spice of life, people. Explore what turns you on. You can find stories about that intriguing coworker with a British accent or hooking up with your hot yoga instructor.
Ooh, flexible.
They even have stories designed specifically for your zodiac sign.
I love that.
They have thought of everything. New content is released every week, so in between listening to your favorite stories again and again, you can always find something new to explore. And Dipsy also has sleep stories, wellness sessions, and they also offer written stories. So if you're somewhere where you don't have headphones or you can't just be listening to the audio, you can still
If you gotta be quiet.
stay entertained. It's your go-to place to spice up your me time, explore your fantasies, or heat things up with a partner.
Oh, yeah. So for listeners of the show, Dipsea is offering an extended 30-day free trial when you go to dipseastories.com/gals. That's 30 days of full access for free when you go to dipseastories.com/GALS. One more time, that's dipseastories.com/gals. And treat your feel goods.
Spice up your life.
Are you ready for my cake?
Oh my God, are you?
Apparently all not, people. I'm literally clutching my desk.
I'm also peeking.
I'm having a really hard time staying grounded right now. So
Okay.
I'm ready for your case.
I am red.
I'm really sweaty. Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
You need a
All right.
sump bump.
Okay, trigger warning.
Okay.
It's a really, it's a horrific case. It's a serial killer. He killed a lot of fucking innocent people, and he sucks, and he's a douchebag, and he's horrible, and his victims deserve so much more.
Okay.
So,
Special things.
special things.
I think I'm melting.
Okay.
My hair is starting to frizz.
Yeah.
And it's like getting in my
Humidity.
face.
The humidity from
Something-
your body.
You do look like
I feel
a can of Coke right out of the fridge.
I feel like Michelle Pfeiffer in What Lies Beneath. Something is happening to me. Whether you like it or not.
That was a good impression.
There's a presence in our home.
Okay.
Your wife.
That movie is so good. I have seen that movie.
I think she's starting to suspect.
It's probably my fourth most watched movie. Is What Lies
It
Beneath.
holds up. I watched it recently.
Yeah.
me.
Okay. I haven't even gotten. I'm not one syllable in.
We're just past the trigger war.
Okay. Kenneth Allen McDuff. What?
No.
Do you need to regroup? Do you need a minute?
I don't know why you don't, but no, I'm good.
We're fine.
I'm calm in a crisis.
Oh my God.
Kenneth Allen McDuff was born on March 21st, 1946 in the small town of Rosebud, Texas.
Oh, that's
Ew.
cute.
Which
Ew,
is
Rosebud butthole.
Butthole Rose.
That's what
Texas.
your light bulb doll's mouth looks like. Little rosebud.
It's somewhere in between Waco and Austin.
You mean Theodore?
Yeah, look at that rosebud mouth.
Texas. It is.
It's
a rosebud.
blinking at me. Ick. It's like gazing. Is enough.
Okay. So
Next.
his parents were John Allen and Addie McDuff.
I know
Yes,
a
all
John
Allens.
I
And
know a
he-
John Allen.
He was the fifth of 6 children, 4 girls and 2 boys. Okay,
Yikes.
stop rocking your baby
it's-
lamp.
I'm so comforted
Your
in this
freaking
moment.
baby. Okay, fine.
His name is Theodore.
It's
It'll
sometimes
keep you
nice.
quiet.
Sometimes Tressa's my little pacifier
It'll keep
too.
me quiet and keep the patrons coming for that $5 a month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can watch me feed my baby.
Okay.
Breastfeed.
His father owned a concrete business, and as Texas experienced a construction boom in the middle of the 20th century, this meant that the large family was fairly comfortable financially, because back then you could have one parent working and 6 children and still be middle
And
class.
it's $3 million home because you went to Yale for
Fucking
30
how?
cents a month.
Yeah.
Jesus. Yale.com. Have
So-
rad.
So Kenneth's mother, Addie, was a piece of work, and she operated a washateria, which is like a laundromat, across the street from the family home.
Washateria.
Yeah, washateria.
Like a cafeteria.
Oh,
You said washateria.
that's what I thought it was pronounced.
Microwave.
Papier mâché.
I genuinely thought it was like a Spanish-speaking family that
Washateria.
named their business the way that you said
in
it.
Texas, I think maybe they pronounced it Washateria.
I could be wrong.
No.
I thought I was wrong once, but I was mistaken.
It's a laundromat.
Okay.
Laundromat. She also had a reputation for being domineering and sometimes downright scary. She once threatened a school bus driver with a gun for kicking her older son Lonnie off the bus when he was like misbehaving.
Jesus.
And this earned her the nickname in town of Pistol Packin' Mama.
Oh, God.
Ew.
I mean, goals.
Also, like, I've seen that
What?
bumper sticker in, like, a baby pink.
Yeah.
And, like, that horrible script.
Yes.
Yeah. She
The live, laugh, love font.
Ick.
we'll get to her more. She was in denial about what her son was capable of.
Uh-oh.
So though Kenneth had a younger sister, he was regarded as the baby of the family. According to one source, the family, quote, lavished attention on Kenneth and treated him as though he were a young god, somehow above the rules that restrained other children.
Ew. I hate that.
By the time he entered middle school, he had developed a reputation as a bully.
You don't say.
But
He
even
is
though
eroticized violence.
Even though he was large and mean, he wasn't actually very strong or very good at fighting.
Like all bullies.
Yeah. And so in 8th grade, he made the mistake of targeting an athletic and popular student and challenged him to a fight. And the kid was like, okay, fine. And then Kenneth lost badly.
Oh, no. That's embarrassing for you.
So he was humiliated. And a few months later, he quit school for good and
He just
went
moved away.
in
In
8th grade.
8th grade, he's
Good
just
for
like,
him.
It was,
oh
in
my
the,
God.
it was the 60s.
Yeah, but because he lost a fight at school, suck it.
And then he went to work for his father because he had that.
Suck
like,
it, McDuff.
fallback
My father
plan.
will hear about this.
So in
I won't go back to school, Mummy. I'll work for father.
Not till you buy me a plane.
Not till you buy me my own concrete business. So in 1964, when McDuff was 18 years old, he was arrested and convicted on 12 counts of burglary and attempted burglary. He was sentenced to 12 4-year prison terms, but all
my
of those
God.
were to be served concurrently. So basically, it was 1 4-year
Okay.
term.
Yeah.
What's the point?
I don't know.
Right.
But already by the end of just the following year, he was already out on parole. He briefly returned to prison after violating his parole conditions by getting in a fight, but he was quickly released again.
You're not good at it, dude.
Right. It would later be revealed that while McDuff was serving these short sentences, he had openly bragged to other inmates about the fact that he had raped and killed 2 women and never been charged for either crime.
Okay. Tip
Cool.
number 1 of getting away with being a serial killer.
Don't blab
Keep
to
your fucking mouth shut.
Quit fucking bragging.
to your roommates in prison, your cellmates.
Yeah. Or just like, it always happens like, well, the guy at the bar, or he got drunk and blabbed to his coworkers and blah, blah, blah.
Well, he never had any consequences for these 2 if they did happen, and we have every reason to believe that they did happen.
Of course.
But we have no further information about these. According to a 1992 Texas Monthly article, quote, the belief that he had committed murder and gotten away with it, coupled with the short, easy prison term he had served for pulling more than a dozen burglaries, hardened him, gave him an exaggerated sense of invulnerability.
Also, if he had any psychopathic traits, that was
Yeah.
already there. And he
Exactly.
was pampered by his whole family.
He was just emboldened.
They let him quit fucking school because he was embarrassed once.
Yep.
And work for father.
So then on August 6th, 1966, McDuff and a friend of his named Roy Dale Green spent the day helping McDuff's father pour concrete. Green was 2 years younger than Kenneth, and the 2 were new friends they had only met a month before.
Okay.
When they finished work for the day, they set off in McDuff's car, which was a brand new Dodge Charger that his mommy had given him as a present when he got out of prison.
Oh, lovely mummy.
So
And
is he still like sick, like Is he like 16?
No, he's like he's born in 46, so he's 20. He's 20.
Okay.
Okay.
So him and Roy Dale Green, who's 18, decide to drive around looking for girls. Like, fair enough. But around 10 p.m. that night, a 17-year-old boy named Robert Brand was hanging out in the parking lot of a baseball field in Everman, Texas, with his 16-year-old girlfriend, Edna Louise Sullivan, and 15-year-old cousin, Mark Dunman. And there's a photo on the drive of these three. The boys look way younger than their listed ages, so the photos might be from when they were little kids.
That's a 7-year-old. That's not a 15-year-old.
Yeah. I couldn't find any old, like, these are the photos on the internet of these two. And then Edna Louise looks like it was more recent.
She's beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. So they're just hanging out in this parking lot. And McDuff and Green spotted them and pulled into the parking lot. McDuff then pulled out a .38 Colt revolver and ordered the three teens to get into the trunk of their car, the teens' car.
Their own car.
Yeah. So terrified, they obeyed. McDuff then drove the victim's Ford along a stretch of highway to an empty field with Roy Dale Green driving his Dodge behind. McDuff then ordered Edna out of the trunk and told Green to put her in the trunk of his car. So the two boys are still in the trunk of their own car. McDuff closed the boys' car trunk with the boys still inside, and then he fired 6 shots into it as the boys pleaded for their lives.
Ew.
Holy shit.
And they both died in the trunk.
Oh, my God.
He then ordered Green to wipe the Ford clean of prints, and Green would later claim that he was acting under duress during this entire series of events and like feared for his own life and wasn't expecting any of this to happen.
I'd believe that. They just met. Maybe.
I believe that, but then we're going to get to this next part. So McDuff and Green then drove to another location about 11 miles away and both raped Edna.
Oh, okay. Well, fuck him then.
So fuck him. It could
be like a mob mentality thing.
Swept up
he
in could have been afraid.
Thing.
I don't know how you're able to rape someone if you are afraid. Maybe he like pretended to get it up so that he could participate in front of McDuff and not be killed. I don't know.
It's gross regardless.
It's not good.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's really bad. So McDuff then killed Edna Louise Sullivan by crushing her throat with a broomstick that was in his car, and then they left her body in some bushes.
Oh my God. Ugh.
Holy shit.
So this heinous crime or crimes, triple murder, would later become known in the press as the Broomstick Murders, and McDuff as the Broomstick Killer. Mm-hmm. This is the only time we know of that he used a broomstick as a murder weapon, but it was just like so shocking. Yeah. So next, the two killers stopped at a gas station for some refreshment.
Not a truck stop.
Okay. Buying bottles of Coca-Cola before going to Green's house to spend the night.
Sleepover.
The next morning, McDuff buried his gun next to Green's garage. Thanks.
Yeah, what the fuck, man?
And
thanks.
I would not let either of you bury a murder weapon in my
absolutely not.
No, I'd help you hide a murder weapon, but I would not have you bury it on my property.
Far away.
Mm-hmm.
And then they drove to another friend's house. The friend is named Richard Boyd. So while they're, I'm assuming out of Kenneth's earshot, Green confessed everything to Boyd's parents. So this does kind of indicate that he was shook and like wanted to get away from McDuff. And so like the very next day, he like spilled the beans to Boyd's parents. And then they called his mom. They called Green's mother, and she convinced her son to go to the police.
Okay.
So then McDuff was arrested for the murder of the 3 teenagers. And Roy Green became the prosecution's star witness. And I'm assuming as part of a plea agreement, he was sentenced to 5 years in prison for his part in the crimes because he pled out. There was no like trial against him.
Mm-hmm.
Also, by all accounts, Green never got over his role in the broomstick murders. And according to an interview with the Rosebud sheriff, quote, he stays out at the old family home and spends most of the day in his sister's beer joint, the town door. To say he's messed up is a real understatement. So the
As
rest
he
of
should be.
yeah, I mean,
Glad
he,
he is affected.
He should be fucking racked with guilt. But
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
be
still-
careful who you're friends with. If you've got a friend who's a misogynistic bully piece of shit, maybe don't go out looking for girls with him because you don't know what you're going to get yourself roped into.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So Addie McDuff, Kenneth's mom, pistol packing mama, was present every day at her son's trial and told reporters that Kenneth had been with a girl from his church at the time that the 3 teenagers were murdered. So like she
just lied.
She like
for
made
him.
up an alibi for, or he probably
Yeah.
told her his made up alibi, but she just repeated it. She claimed that her blameless son was willing to risk the death penalty rather than provide this alibi, which would destroy that poor girl's reputation.
Oh, convenient.
There we go.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Quote, he's too good for his own good, the doting mother told the press.
Wow.
That's sick.
The jury
Like,
disagreed.
even if your kid is really great, just don't talk about your kids like this. It's really gross.
Yeah. The jury disagreed. Kenneth Allen McDuff was found guilty and sentenced to death. He remained on death row until a 1972 Supreme Court decision effectively overturned all death sentences at the time, and his sentence was commuted to life in prison. However, 10 years after the murders, McDuff was eligible for parole.
Only 10 years?
He was sentenced to death, and that turned into 10 years?
Yeah, well, we'll get to it.
Motherfucker.
Although no one thought there was a chance that the parole board would ever actually grant it because the murders were so heinous. And indeed, the first couple of times he applied, he was rejected, although on each of these occasions, he received at least one vote in favor of granting him parole.
Cool.
Much of this had to do with the fact that Addie, his mom, had hired her son a new lawyer who dedicated himself to proving Kenneth's innocence. And then he assembled like a massive dossier of, quote, evidence against Roy Green. So because the fact that he had an accomplice and had the plea deal, like, you know, if you have an accomplice, it's easier to be like, no. He
did it
was
all.
the victim who was coerced into doing it. And Green had to do all this other stuff.
Yeah, he's just gonna, yeah.
So McDuff also tried to improve his parole odds by offering a member of the parole board a $10,000 bribe.
Oh, good. Great. Sweeten the pot.
This backfired as he was convicted of bribery and sentenced to 2 additional years in prison. But ultimately, Kenneth Allen McDuff was successful. The combination of his lawyer's dossier on Green and the fact that McDuff had enrolled in correspondence courses to better himself and like advance beyond the 8th grade was
But he
enough.
also committed murder and rape and
Right.
and bribed and
Yeah, I just don't know why.
don't love it. I don't love it.
The bribe alone should be proof enough, like you haven't changed, you're still a criminal.
Right.
Right, you're trying to buy your way out of
And you took a
parole.
class in how to write letters.
Yeah.
Good on ya.
So this was enough to sway the majority of the parole board members to finally vote in his favor. He also benefited from the fact that the parole board was overworked and under enormous pressure to release people. It had recently been decided that to prevent Texas prisons from becoming overcrowded in violation of federal law, a quota of 750 inmates per week had to be paroled.
Per
It's
week
so wild.
in the whole state?
Yeah.
And so they run out of room, and so they are much quicker to parole folks that really should not be trusted because they're definitely still a danger to the public.
And they don't have time to properly review cases.
Exactly.
So in practice, this meant that the 15 members of the parole board had to evaluate the viability of parole for 1,000 inmates every 5 working days.
Oh my God.
They had 1,000 dossiers per work week that they had to clear.
Can you imagine if we could just stop holding people for like petty bullshit, like marijuana and fucking dumb crap like that?
Mm-hmm.
How many more resources we would have for, I don't know, actual protection and public safety?
Not letting serial killers out of prison.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the whole fucking thing is so stupid.
Mm-hmm.
This is all just money. People have died. People die because of this shit.
Yeah.
Abso-fucking-lutely. And how much do you want to bet that they're like paroling white prisoners left and fucking right, and then you know, people of color are still just rotting in there.
Saves them from having to read a full dossier. Just look at them.
Yeah, McDuff is white, so yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, McDuff was released on parole in 1989. On the day that he was released from prison, Rosebud Sheriff Larry Pamplin made the following prediction, quote, I don't know if it'll be next week or next month or next year, but one of these days, dead girls are going to start turning up, and when that happens, the man you need to look for is Kenneth McDuff.
Ew. Fucking
Whoa,
ew.
that just sent a chill down my spine.
Ugh.
This premonition was right, if not pessimistic enough, because just 3 days after McDuff was released, the naked body of 29-year-old Seraphia Parker was discovered in a field in Temple, Texas, which just so happened to be the town that his parents had moved to and where he was staying since his release.
Oh my fucking God.
3 days.
3 days?
3 days was when her body was found.
So he probably did it immediately. He probably did it on the way home.
Oh.
Somehow he was not immediately tied to this crime. And the following spring, he enrolled in Texas State Technical College in Waco and moved into the dorms.
Like a Waco dormitory, let me tell you.
Yuck.
In the subsequent months, several sex workers in the area were reported missing, but still no one came looking for McDuff.
Who is this person's parole officer? He should be checking in with a PO.
It's like not even time to do that yet. It's been like a couple hours.
I guess.
I mean, subsequent months, but
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
crazy.
I mean. Like,
Yeah.
you have such access to this person's whereabouts is expected during parole.
I think maybe it's because his first victims had nothing to do with sex work. So it wasn't like his precise MO yet. And Seraphia Parker was also black, and his first 3 victims had all been white.
Okay.
So I think it's more of an MO question, but now looking back when we know all of his subsequent crimes, this was
It's
his
like
real
fucking
MO,
duh.
and his first 3 known murders were an outlier.
Okay.
So then in October of 1991, McDuff picked up a sex worker named Brenda Thompson. He tied her up and placed her in the passenger seat of his pickup truck. But as he was driving her to whatever location he had in mind, he came upon a police checkpoint and stopped the truck about 50 feet before reaching it. So he saw the checkpoint in the distance and just stopped.
Was like, oh shit, yeah.
50 feet is not even like the distance.
Yeah.
And that's
she's
really fucking suspicious.
tied up. So she knows shit's about to go down. Brenda, seeing her opportunity for escape, began kicking at the windshield of the truck and managed to
girl.
crack it.
Wow.
But McDuff sped forward, almost running the police officers over who were approaching the car, and they attempted to chase him, but he turned off his headlights and took small side roads because he knew where he was going, and he
area.
had enough of a head start because they were standing
Yep.
and not in
In the cars.
started vehicle.
And they have
my
to turn around, and
God.
he was already facing forward. It's going to give him like a 2-minute almost head, like at least a minute head start.
So he made his way to a wooded area where he tortured Brenda Thompson to death.
Jesus Christ.
God.
And her body would not be found until 1998.
Oh.
That's what, like 7 years? 6 years?
7 years, yeah.
Shit.
So 5 days later, McDuff murdered a 17-year-old girl named Regina Moore, who also had been working as a sex worker. Her body was also not discovered until 1998.
Were they at the same drop site?
No, different sites, but same MO.
Okay.
Like dropped somewhere, some rural field or woods or something. That same month, he is widely believed to have murdered a 23-year-old young mom named Cynthia Gonzalez, whose body was discovered in a creek bed in a heavily wooded area 6 days after she went missing. And she worked for like a strippergram company. And so the company knew that her last call out was to an area near where
he lived.
Okay.
And then also there's something about her car being parked at a car wash, which we will get to that being connected to another victim later. So he's believed to have murdered Cynthia Gonzalez, but this is not as
Right. Solidly
linked as others. In December of 1991, McDuff began working with an accomplice named Alva Hank Worley, who is a man. The Alva first name is odd, but it's a dude. All of these people have photos on the drive. Together, they kidnapped a 29-year-old woman named Colleen Reed from a car wash in front of multiple eyewitnesses.
Ooh, God, that's creepy.
Together, they then raped, tortured, and murdered her. And Worley would later state that he had been an accomplice to just the rape and the torture, but not the murder part.
Yeah, but I didn't murder.
Because he didn't want the death penalty. That's all it was.
Right.
They were doing it together. So we have a pattern of McDuff being more emboldened and more of like a show off and taking more risks when he has an accomplice with him.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah, because they were in public, both of them.
McDuff's next victims were a sex worker named Valencia Joshua in late February of 1992 and a convenience store cashier named Melissa Northrup on March 1st, 1992, who was pregnant at the time that she was abducted from work. Immediately after these two murders, McDuff left Texas. He felt like he had probably...
I might get caught, so I should move on.
Yeah, I've killed 5 people in a span of a few months that we know about.
Oh, God.
He moved to Kansas City, Missouri, and began living
Kansas City, Missouri.
City, Missouri.
Missouri. And you said
Kansas.
City, Missouri.
Right? City, Missouri.
And began living under the fake name Richard Fowler.
He was foul. He's fouler than any man I've ever heard of.
But his mother, Addie, and this might have blown up his spot a little bit, became frantically worried about her son and filed a missing persons report.
Her adult son.
Her adult serial killer son.
Fucking Addie.
Amazing.
My God.
What a dummy.
So that's like the only good thing she's ever done. Meanwhile, police were finally piecing together the fact that McDuff had been killing again.
Sorry, I saw the picture of Addie McDuff on the drive, and she is exactly
exactly what
she
you're
should
picturing.
look like.
The hollowed out cheeks and the too prominent chin and nose and the
Thin lips.
thin downturned lips and the
So
glasses.
downturned.
Like 60s wire
Severe
rimmed.
60s mom.
Yeah, she looks like her hair was just someone using a leaf blower on her face, and then while it was wet, and then it just set it there.
Like, I can't see it, but I feel like she's clutching pearls.
She is precisely what you would picture for a serial killer's mom.
She looks like a school marm,
Yeah.
I
like a
love
mean
it.
one.
Yeah.
She's amazing.
Overbearing mother.
So, Valencia Joshua's body was discovered on March 15th, and she had been last seen alive on McDuff's college campus, asking someone for directions to McDuff's dorm room.
Okay, that's a little on the nose.
Yeah. And then Melissa Northrup's body was found on April 26th, and eyewitnesses could also tie McDuff to this murder. He had been seen near the convenience store where she worked immediately before she'd been kidnapped. And he had also recently asked a college classmate if he would be interested in helping him rob this convenience store. So he was
Okay.
seeking another accomplice, and that friend was like, nah, I'm good.
I'm good.
Yeah.
Thanks, though.
Yeah.
My mom sent snacks. I'm good.
I'm good. So then on May 1st, 1992, a man named Gary Smithy saw an America's Most Wanted episode
God, it's so good.
about McDuff and immediately recognized him as his new coworker, Richard Fowler,
He ran afoul.
I love that.
at the refuse collection company in Kansas City, Missouri, where he worked.
Kansas City, Missouri.
So Gary Smithy called the Kansas City police, who were able to quickly establish that Kenneth McDuff and Richard Fowler were indeed the same person.
And under this new alias that he'd only been under for
8 minutes.
Yeah. Fowler had already been arrested for soliciting sex workers, and his prints were on file, and then they matched those to the prints on file in Texas for Kenneth McDuff.
Oh my God.
Do you
What
know
an
how
idiot.
fucking stupid you have to be
very
to be
bad at this.
arrested for soliciting sex workers? Like, the Johns never get arrested. You have to be really bad at it.
Or it was a sting.
Yeah. Anyway, on May 4th, 1992, McDuff was arrested as he drove to work at a landfill. He was indicted. It's probably why he took the job at a landfill, honestly.
Ew.
Oh.
Cool.
He never,
Ish.
as far as we know, didn't deposit anything at a landfill, but
Well,
I wouldn't be
disposal of
surprised.
evidence.
Yeah.
They'd never know. Maybe it wasn't a human body, but if it was like a knife or a
Murder
broomstick,
weapon or
Yeah, an
bloodied
article of clothing.
sheets. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he was indicted on one count of capital murder for the Melissa Northrup killing, for which he was found guilty and sentenced to death. And remember, so that's the only murder since his release from prison that he was tried
Actually
and
tried for.
convicted of. So remember that a couple of his known victims' remains were yet to be found at this point. So they hadn't found Regina Moore or Brenda Thompson yet. That would take another few years. But it's unclear why he wasn't charged for the murders of Colleen Reed, Seraphia Parker, Valencia Joshua, and Cynthia Gonzalez. Colleen Reed was white, but the other three that he wasn't charged for were of color, either black or Latina, or Hispanic, I don't know. But it might have just been like a lack of evidence, or they were like, he's getting the death penalty and we're just going to clear this up quick, and why put the resources towards it?
Right.
I feel like also if somebody has already been sentenced to death for like a series of murders like this, it's a lot of times because of the efforts of the family to get closure for their victim that's like pushed. You know what I mean? So like maybe they just didn't do that in a few cases.
Yeah, with Colleen Reed, I'm not really sure because she was not involved in sex work as far as we know. Not that like that's any kind of excuse. That's not what I'm saying. But if people are involved in survival sex work, it's possible that they have weakened ties to extended family. And their family might not like know if they've gone missing. You know, they might not have been reported missing by family. And so their family might not be like involved to advocate for them. All of that is speculation. I don't know. But
Okay.
I think it was just because they got the death penalty and they were like, it's done. So he died by lethal injection on November 17th, 1998, and his remains are buried in a Texas prison cemetery for bodies that are unclaimed by family members. So Addie, I guess, didn't
Go get him.
go get him. I don't
My
know.
baby.
I don't know if she was still alive
Weird.
at that point. I don't know.
Maybe not. Gosh, even in the 90s, they put you down quick after you get that sentence.
Yeah, well, I mean, he killed a lot of fucking people.
Oh, I'm not like,
Yeah.
I'm not real upset about
No.
it in this case.
But yeah, it's way faster than it is now.
Well, it was 6 years.
It's also the
Yeah.
second time he'd been sentenced to death in his life.
Oh, right. That old thing.
So
that old
chestnut.
chestnut.
Yeah, he's a cat with many lives.
Dang.
So that is Kenneth Allen McFuckface. And honestly, he has so many victims that in our format, we don't have enough time to like properly
acknowledge
all of their lives and what, you know, what wonderful individuals they all were. But please take a look and yeah.
Great.
Serial killers on the loose, paroled because they decided to take a course.
Yeah. Correspondence.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, well, bye, Kenneth. Fuck you.
Bye. I know, I'm
you,
not
Kenna.
pro death penalty, but I'm pro this guy being yeeted off the planet.
Oh, he looks so fucking gross. This picture of him, number
He's
5.
nosy.
There are
Yeah.
lots of pictures of him on the drive.
He
Kind of looks slightly different
dead.
in every picture.
The one that I would assume is the oldest, like when he is the oldest. So the most recent picture, he just looks like a dead sack of shit.
His last words were something like, "I am ready to be released. Release me."
Ew. His eyes are exactly the same in every
Yeah,
photo.
he's got dead shark eyes.
I
It's really creepy.
hate it.
Cool. Thanks. Can we take a break so I don't have
do
to look
it.
at this anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
When it comes to weddings, there are moments you'll always remember. And not just like, maybe the very iconic ones. Like I will always remember at Lucy's wedding through my bleary, teary eyes. The father of the bride speech, it just moved the whole room. It was so sweet watching your dad up there.
It was heart-wrenching, but amazing.
it
I will
was.
also never forget that.
But you don't want to remember all the stress of wedding planning. And so to avoid that, here is something to remember right now. Zola.
Oh, Zola. Sweet, sweet Zola. Saved so many weddings. So why Zola? Whatever kind of wedding you're planning, Zola.com is the one place to start. They have got your back for all of your wedding needs. That's why over 1 million couples have planned their weddings with Zola. So if you're looking for a wedding venue, Zola will give you personalized recommendations. If you want an incredible, robust gift registry,
Yes.
you will find everything you need from like the cookware, the Vitamix, the KitchenAid, all that fun stuff, all the way just down to cash funds, because who couldn't use that?
Yeah, can come in handy if you're saving for a house or want a big honeymoon.
Absolutely. Zola can even help you create stunning save the dates, invitations, and a matching wedding website. Their designs are so cute. They are designs that you will not find anywhere else. And they're just
They're
so
very
polished.
classic and tasteful. They're great.
Mhm. Yeah, I like every single one of them. And weddings can be expensive, but planning with Zola never is. All of their planning tools are completely free to use. Their free wedding website that is home to your gift registry, which, by the way, comes with free shipping and returns.
I still order things off of my Zola gift registry, and I got married in 2018.
Do you, honey?
Yeah.
Take advantage.
Yeah.
Zola really just takes the place of all of those zillions of spreadsheets that you used to have to have in order to make a wedding come together. It's just all in one place. And it's not just free, it is risk-free. You can get free personalized samples of your invitations so you can try them out before you buy them. And of course, free envelopes and guest addressing that is huge. So whatever your style or budget, Zola has you covered so you can think less about the million things you need to do and more about those million wedding moments that you'll always remember.
If you're planning your wedding, here is our tip. Start with Zola. Go to zola.com/gals, G-A-L-S, today and use promo code SAVE50 for 50% off your save the dates. Zola is the one place to start for your wedding day. That's zola.com/gals, code SAVE50, and treat your wedding.
Treat it.
You guys have heard us rave about Warby Parker in the past. We are big Warby Parker stans, and that is because Warby Parker was founded with a rebellious spirit and a lofty goal to create boutique quality eyewear at a revolutionary price point. So they offer eyeglasses, sunglasses, contact lenses, and eye exams.
So cool.
And Warby Parker is committed to providing exceptional vision care online and in stores. I have ordered both ways, online and in stores.
Me too.
I love the experience either way. Another amazing thing, their glasses start at $95, and that includes prescription lenses. Okay. So try Warby Parker's free home try-on program. You order 5 pairs of glasses to try at home, in your home, without putting on pants, for free for 5 days. And there's no obligation to buy. You can take cute pics of yourself, send it to your friends. They can help you decide which one to buy, or maybe you need to buy multiple pairs because you need it. It's non-negotiable. They ship free, and it includes a prepaid return shipping label.
This couldn't be easier. I love doing the at-home try-on every time I need a new pair of glasses, and then polling your friends. It's just fun. It can be like a social activity.
You can try them with different outfits, see what like really works in person.
And if you're like me, the last time I had my home try-on, I couldn't decide between two pairs, so I got one pair with like the regular lenses and one pair with the UV blue light filtering lenses.
You know?
So those are like my work glasses.
Treat yourself.
Absolutely. I also have a few pairs of their prescription sunglasses so that I don't need to stack my regular sunglasses over my prescription glasses and become a 6 eyes.
I have so many pairs of Warby Parker sunglasses that I pretty much just keep a different pair in each purse.
Yep.
Just in case.
And they're all super cute. My husband has a couple pairs of Warby Parker sunglasses. They just have something for everybody. They have a massive selection. So you're going to find what you're looking for. So again, try 5 pairs of glasses at home for free at warbyparker.com/gals and treat yo eyes.
Trade them.
All right, are you ready for my quiz?
Maybe.
Not after
I can
that.
barely read, so this is going to be interesting.
If you need to popcorn us in.
I'll let you know.
Just don't Denver us.
No, I got this. I'm still here. I'm still talking. I'm on the planet.
Didn't we do a
Okay.
live show playing popcorn?
Oh yeah. Well, we've done it several times because Kenyon almost always gets up to pee,
Oh, I was
and
like,
then
I
we
don't
popcorn
recall
each
that.
other
Because I was big.
because you weren't there.
Okay.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah.
So all 3 of us would be safe or have been safe from this motherfucker, with the exception of me in 9th grade.
What did you do?
Because today
what you
I'm
did.
going to be talking about the still unsolved serial murder case, the Redhead murders.
It's unsolved.
Ooh.
You're hitting us with an unsolved serial killer?
It's like softly unsolved.
Okay.
Don't.
That's what the assignment was, kind of.
Kind of, yeah. He was, but it's
a lot to
solved.
cope
It's
with.
solved. We'll get
Okay,
to
okay.
it. So this was a series of unsolved homicides targeting young women with red hair throughout Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Mississippi, Pennsylvania, and West Virginia between 1978 and 1987.
Cool. Half the country in a 10-year span.
I did have
No one is
strawberry
safe.
blonde hair as an infant in 1987, so I
Yeah,
was
but you would have been
not
too
safe.
young.
Okay.
You would have been too young for this guy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a long fucking stretch
Quit
covering
playing
a
the
lot of
victim.
ground. Yeah, you're too young.
I did have.
I would have been targeted.
I'm a Leo, and I can make anything about me.
Don't leave me out of that exclusive list. Not today.
But me, I could have been killed in a brutal
No.
fashion. Me. Why wasn't I chosen?
No.
No, it's horrible. Okay.
So let's get into it. Contributing to the challenge here are the identities of the victims. All of the victims were women under the age of about 30 years old.
Over
with
the
red,
age of infancy.
over the age of infancy, with red or reddish hair. So strawberry blonde would have applied, but your age range was wrong.
Okay.
They were picked up on major highways across the United States, likely hitchhiking or engaging in sex work. And when the killer was finished with them, he dumped their bodies along the same major highways just to be found.
So he was not
of-
trying to hide them.
Not at all. Well, in one case, he kinda was,
Didn't
but-
put in the work.
Right. Of the possible 11 plus victims, only 4 have been identified even.
That's
Oh.
so heartbreaking.
It's really fucking heartbreaking. So Lisa Nichols was found on September 16th, 1984 along I-40 near West Memphis, Arkansas.
Didn't I cite this?
Yeah, probably. Maybe.
The I-40 murders.
Yeah, I-40 specifically, but the 28-year-old woman had been estranged from her family, and it took nearly a year to identify her. She was eventually identified not by family, but by a couple in Florida who had taken her in previously and recognized her description in the paper.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was so estranged from her family that she, I think, had found like work or companionship during a long stretch of living in Florida, and this couple
Like
allowed
she
her.
crashed at their house for a while.
Yeah, I think she paid like a small rent, and they like became friends. They helped her out. I think she lived there for maybe a year, and then she left.
Shit.
And Florida and
So-
Arkansas are kind of far apart, aren't they?
Yeah, but she was very nomadic. I mean, she was making her way. She wandered.
I guess it's just sad that this
And he
couple
could
in
have picked her
Florida had identified
Right.
her from art. Yeah, just
Well, she was found in Arkansas. We're not sure where she was picked up. So she
Right.
could have been picked up anywhere in between.
Right.
Okay.
And it is assumed that she was picked up while hitchhiking. Cause of death was strangulation. 21-year-old Tina Farmer was found on January 1st, 1985, near Jellicoe, Tennessee, on the side of I-75.
Jellicoe cats.
Jellicoe Cat, Tennessee. Judging by her remains, she had been dead for several days before she was found. Tina was 12 weeks pregnant when she was killed and was found still clothed and wrapped in a blanket, which was later discovered to have semen on it, which we'll get to. Cause of death was strangulation. He likely had no idea that she was pregnant. 12 weeks is not very far along.
Right.
Whether or not she knew,
Right.
I don't know.
It's possible she didn't know. It's possible she knew.
But he didn't know.
Right.
Or didn't care.
Right.
Yeah. The very decomposed and partial skeletal remains of a young girl were found on April 3rd, 1985, near a strip mine 4 miles south of Jellicoe, where the previous victim had been found.
Oh, so he has a little dumping ground.
Possibly. Little is known about this victim. Judging by the decomposition of her remains, she had been dead for 1 to 4 years, which is kind of a big window.
Mm-hmm.
The bones indicate a very young child between the ages of 9 and 15. So still not a baby. You still don't apply.
Fine. Fair.
Enough of her skull was intact to put together a composite sketch, like one of those, like they do the clay.
Yeah.
I love those.
Which I think those are incredible.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they put out a composite, oh my God, sketch. But she, to this day, remains a Jane Doe. She was never identified.
So she was not one of the ones that was dumped right off the road with the intention of being found.
She was not, but she was within 4 miles of the remains of the previous
But they
found
believe
victim.
she's connected because they believe her to have also been a redhead.
We'll get to it, but yes.
Okay.
So this young girl, this child, was found with a necklace and bracelet made out of colorful buttons and a pair of size 5 boots.
Size 5.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
So while we don't know her exact age or if she was a redhead, details of these remains share similarities with the other victims that led investigators to believe this was the work of the redheaded killer.
Okay.
Though the cause of death cannot be 100% determined because of the state of the remains, a piece of cloth was found tied around the neck of the remains, and a knot used was the same as other knots found on other victims connected to this killer.
Strangulation. Okay.
Yeah,
So that's the
strangulation
connection.
and the specific knot and like
And the
using a
location.
piece of their clothing and the location
Yeah. Okay.
was enough to link it.
Okay.
Another victim who remains unidentified was found on March 31st, 1985 in Pleasant View, Tennessee. Though she was considerably decomposed after an estimated 3 to 5 months of exposure to the elements before discovery, her hair remained and was indeed red. She was believed to be about 30 years old and was found on a stretch of interstate known to be a dumping ground for the redhead killer.
God.
Then on April 1st, 1985, the body of 28-year-old S.P. Pilgrim was found closed inside of a white deep freezer that had been discarded on the side of Route 25 in Gray, Kentucky.
Ooh.
There is a photo of the freezer on the drive, but you can't see any remains.
Could not pay me to open a dumped freezer.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, aren't you curious?
No.
No.
I would call
Nope.
police immediately.
Yeah, and I think that's...
I wouldn't want to see that.
No, absolutely not. Smell,
Most
see.
of them are empty, but
I don't want... Even if it's the 1 in a million time that it's not empty, it's not worth it.
No.
Not worth it. So...
am I the only one here that's opened like a abandoned fridge in the woods?
Yeah, you are.
When?
Why?
What? How many abandoned?
Off the top of my head, when I worked in a real workplace, we had an annual cleanup for Earth Day, and we went out in the woods and cleaned stuff up. And there were some, people dump refrigerators and freezers and stuff. I don't know. I spent a lot of time in the woods. I don't know. I feel like there's always
Am
a
I
fridge in
the
the
only
woods.
one that has opened a dumped refrigerator
Someone
in the
else,
woods?
someone out there.
Quote, I feel like there's always a fridge in the woods. End quote. You do? What woods are... You know what? This is too
Fine.
much to
Next
unpack.
time I
We
see
gotta
one,
move on.
I need to process.
Next time I see one, I'll send you a picture. There's always a fridge in the
No.
woods.
You know what?
No, next
Special
time.
thanks.
Yeah.
We're done.
No.
I can't.
I
tonight.
refuse. And hitchhiking is dangerous. Oh my
People
God.
do not understand the
You're
magnitude of how wild this night has been. And so I'm
My
continuing on. And my cup runneth over. I can't process anything else.
Full.
Please don't make me process anything else.
There's
My cup
never a
has
body.
a quivering meniscus.
I can't even lift it to sip. I have to sip it like this.
I have to bring my mouth to the cup.
Yeah, and if I breathe too hard, it's gonna
Your
pop.
heartbeat in your fingertips would be too much.
Yes. That is where we are with this day.
Oh, well,
Yes,
let's
it is.
move on. I don't feel like I have to explain myself, so we can just move on.
SB was not identified until 2018
God.
Oh my God.
when familial DNA matched the former Jane Doe.
Shit.
The DNA match was of her youngest sister who said her mother disappeared. Daughter. Yep. The youngest daughter who said her mother disappeared when she was only 6 weeks old.
Oh my
She also
God.
Yeah, she also had 4 other children. So this woman was the mother of 5.
Oh my God.
And she is believed to have died by suffocation. So they're not sure if she was they don't know if she was killed before or after being put in the freezer. She may have been put in there alive with the door sealed.
Like either believed to be dead but still technically alive, or
Exactly. Or
alive.
intentionally alive. We don't know. We don't know.
God.
That would be really far from his MO.
Yeah.
What I
Yeah.
think is that he had likely choked her and there was enough decomposition to not really be able to determine that.
Right.
But they could determine, and maybe she didn't die, but then they could determine by the state of the lungs that she had died by suffocation.
Right.
That's my understanding of this.
that would match his MO better
and that would match his MO.
be quicker.
Yep.
Or
So-
he thought he had suffocated her to death, dumped her
Right.
in there. Yeah.
Right.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's what I think
Oh,
happened.
okay.
I think he thought that he had killed her, but she wasn't dead. And we'll kind of get to that
Yeah.
theory in a little bit. And the woman in the freezer also had shoulder-length red hair. There are at least 2 more suspected victims of this killer. One woman was found on February 13th, 1983, along Route 250 near Littleton, West Virginia. Folks had driven past her for days because they thought she was a discarded mannequin. It's never a mannequin.
Oh my God.
Yes. It was the 80s. Lot of cocaine.
Wow.
I don't know. I gotta keep driving. I thought it was a mannequin.
Even if it is a mannequin, go pick it up. They make great
Right?
planters.
Free mannequin. Are you
Lucy-
fucking kidding
Lucy
me?
would have been all over it, as we've learned.
Absolutely.
I would have done a quick U-turn. Would have pulled
Easily.
turn on my hazards.
Oh
Yep.
my God.
Free mannequin.
Get out my shovel
So-
from the trunk.
Oh my
Okay.
God. You are the danger.
This-
You are the one who knocks.
Yeah. God.
I am the one
Get
who
out my shovel from my
knocks.
trunk.
Make a U-turn, turn around, poke the
I know
torso.
lots of truck drivers. Hitchhiking is perfectly safe.
What forest doesn't have a refrigerator in it?
I'm always in the woods. What are you admitting to on camera? After one gummy.
They will never pin it on me. Never.
I'm not going down for this.
God.
Something
Oh my
is
God.
happening in our house.
Oh,
Whether you
something
like
is
it or
happening to
not.
me.
Oh my God.
Something is happening to me. Whether you like it or not. The
God.
way she says me. Something is happening to me.
So there is something in our house. There's something in our house. Whatever. Let's keep going. Let's
Yeah.
take the focus off of me. Let's put it back on Kenyon. Squarely where it belongs.
Choking on a seat.
Oh my God.
So, everybody's driving by this poor woman because I think she's a mannequin. However, her cause of death was undetermined and her hair was auburn. So while she fits some of the MO and the location, it's unclear and frankly unlikely that she was the victim of the same killer. She has still to this day not been identified either, which is so fucking sad.
It's unlikely that she was a victim.
of this same guy, because this
we
was
just
like,
don't know.
yeah, we just don't know, and she didn't match, like, there's nothing to link her when there's so much
Got red
among
hair.
the other victims to link her.
Okay.
Auburn is brown, not, like, her hair was completely different from any of the other victims.
Auburn means brown.
I thought it was like
Yes.
a reddish brown.
I thought it was
It
reddish
has like
brown.
a tinge of red, but it's like dark. And all of these other women were like light red hair or strawberry blonde.
I think she's
so
the
it like
victim.
stood out.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean,
She
it
coulda worn a
matters,
wig.
and yeah, she could have, but I think they would have determined that it was a wig.
Okay. Anyway, moving on.
Anyway, the body of Elizabeth Lamott was found on April 14th, 1985 in Greenville, Tennessee. She was also not identified until 2018, and it's still not 100% clear if she was one of the killer's victims, though she did have red highlights in her hair and was 17 at the time of her death.
Oh, no.
So she fits a couple pieces of the MO. But one very different stray from the MO is the cause of death, which in Elizabeth's case was blunt force trauma and a possible stab wound.
Very
But that was
different.
hard, very different. But that was also hard to determine because she had months of decomposition before discovery.
Wow.
So
She
we don't
also
know.
could have fought and he wanted to strangle
Yep.
her, but
Had to knock her out,
Yeah.
you know? So because so many victims were estranged from their families, we may honestly never know who some of these young women were. And this was like at a time before the popularity of DNA.
right.
You know, even if some of these folks had prior records, the most that you could really hope for having on file at that point in history was maybe fingerprints and some photographs.
Right.
Well, also this
You
is
weren't swabbed on entry the way that you are now when you go in for intake.
and it's pre-internet. So these
Exactly.
systems aren't talking to each other.
Right.
Exactly. Even if we had the technology, we don't have the database. So what the fuck, you may be asking?
I am.
Yes. In 1985, after the body started showing up, an FBI task force was formed to take on this case. Special Agent David Davenport of Tennessee sat down with A&E for an interview about his work on this task force. He said the women were, quote, mostly redheads with the exception of one brunette, so the one with the auburn hair. They were all found dumped on the side of interstates. Some were wrapped in blankets with duct tape. As to who was responsible, it was always thought at the time that it was a long-distance truck driver.
Duh.
In March of 1985, investigators thought they had a massive breakthrough. A young woman with red hair named Linda Shackey was working as an erotic dancer at a club in Knox County, Tennessee. A customer approached her, took two $100 bills out of his wallet, tore them in half, gave her two halves that like wouldn't make one whole,
Yeah.
and promised her the rest of the torn bills after she had sex
That's
with him.
fucking
What
gross.
a piece of shit.
Ugh.
Yep.
That
so
is
gross.
Among the grossest things I've ever heard.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
There's a lot more to this story that I wanted to include, but then my notes were getting really long. He was like at the strip club with his brother, and the brother also solicited a sex work, and they went to like a Holiday Inn, and like it was just like really, really
The
like,
amount of fucking bullshit that sex workers and
Put up
people
with.
in, you know, related sex work industries are subjected to is just
it's
Ugh.
horrible.
And just like the general attitude of like men who think /
Yeah.
know
Who's
that
gonna
they're
dangle
owed
this?
something if they
Yeah.
just dangle some money.
the fucking entitlement.
It's so disgusting.
Yeah, it's
Sick.
nasty.
Ugh.
She accepted the offer and went with him to his car where he ripped up. So like this is where they went to
Do the deed.
do the deed, and then on the way he's like, because she's in his car, so he's bringing her back to the parking lot to drop her back off at the club, and it's back in the parking lot where he ripped up her shirt, tied her with the signature knot, and drove her to a wooded area near I-40 and then strangled her until she passed out. Believing her to be dead, he left her on the side of the road. But this badass survived and was able to press charges against her attacker and able to identify him.
Amazing.
And his name is Jerry Johns.
Ugh.
Jimmy John's brother, Jerry Johns.
Oh my God. Are there pictures of him on the drive?
Yes. So he was arrested. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh no.
He's not cute. Yeah.
The thin mustache. Look at his
I know.
trimmed mustache.
I know.
It's like too far above
both-
the upper lip.
Options of the mustache.
Yeah, there's like an
are-
old school picture of it. But again, the eyes, exactly
Exactly
the
the
same.
same.
Totally dead. Dead eyes.
Exact same expression, exact same eyes. Like, it's really
Zero
creepy.
fucks given.
I want to get him off my screen.
Yeah, I can't look at
Uh-huh.
him anymore.
He's the worst. So he was arrested and convicted for his attack on Linda, and his DNA was matched to the semen found on the blanket that Tina Farmer was wrapped in.
Okay.
But this connection wouldn't be made until years later. So at the time of his arrest and at the time that Linda pressed charges and appeared in court and put him away for this, they had his DNA, but this technology was not yet available. Jerry was a long-haul trucker.
You don't say. With a face like that.
I know. And though it was most likely him and the entire task force knew it, there just wasn't enough evidence at the time to tie him to these murders that they were looking into. So the only thing they could get him for at that time was the attack on Linda because she was alive to testify against him. So he did his time for assault and attempted murder and fortunately would never leave prison, though he certainly tried. This is from WBIR News. Quote, he handwrote numerous petitions insisting he should be released because authorities had the wrong man.
So he did
Wasn't
take a
my semen.
correspondence class.
Well, it was my semen on both dead women, but it was just, or attempted.
He doesn't know that yet.
Oh my God.
So in February 1986, Linda sued Jerry Johns in Knox County Circuit Court for her suffering physical and both physical and emotional trauma
Can you sue
that
a
he caused her
prisoner?
that night. Yeah. People, like, prisoners get sued in civil court for damages and shit all the time.
Well, you're never going to get that money.
Not necessarily,
Depends
but sometimes people just want to fucking take it as, whatever is part of Linda's healing journey, you do you.
It also
girl.
depends
Like,
on the prisoner. Maybe he had assets,
Yeah, he was a long haul trucker for years. Like,
He could have
he
had
had some money.
property or something.
Yeah.
I
That
guess
was
I
waiting
never
for
thought
him
about
upon his release.
I never thought about a victim suing someone who was convicted, a prisoner.
Oftentimes, prisoners will go to both criminal and civil court. I just don't know if it happens as frequently in like the very violent crimes that we talk about, but it does happen in a lot of other crimes.
Okay.
Good
So-
for Linda. She's a fucking amazing person.
Yeah.
I'm here
she
for
is
Linda.
taking
I love her.
no prisoners, and I love it.
Seriously. So Johns then turned around and sued her in July of 1986 in the same court. Quote, it is the contention of plaintiff Jerry L. Johns that defendants and her lawyer conspired to perpetuate a fraud upon the plaintiff, said his handwritten complaint.
How was that not thrown out immediately when he had been convicted of her attempted murder?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he wrote it. Doesn't mean it went anywhere.
Okay.
WBIR sought to speak with the victim for this story. The TBI contacted her, so Linda, and she said she wasn't ready to talk publicly, according to this news station. Johns sometimes talked with the media after his arrest, complaining about how the police were portraying him in the media. He'd never done anything, he insisted. Working against investigators at the time was also a relative lack of physical evidence. So he's in jail, but they still can't connect him, even though they're like, we know it was him. So his attempt at a lawsuit didn't go anywhere on Jerry's end, and he continued to sit in prison. I'm not sure if Linda received anything in her lawsuit either. I didn't dig for that, so I'm not sure. But in 2016, physical evidence from the Redhead murders was submitted for forensic testing, which had now advanced considerably since the 80s. It was then that the semen at Tina's crime scene was matched to Jerry Johns in 2016. Unfortunately for Tina's family, Johns died in prison in 2015, only 1 year earlier, at 67 years old. Isn't that so fucking sad?
Yeah. Although, you don't know how a family is going to react.
True.
And it's possible that they were like, at least he's off this earth.
Yep. No, it's true. It's true. I shouldn't.
And
I shouldn't
they don't
assume.
want to go through the deal of a trial as long as they have the answer,
I'm totally projecting
absolutely
how
right.
I would react. And you're right.
It's possible either way.
Totally. Yeah, he was 67 years old and said Davenport, that original FBI investigator on this case, quote, I'd like to have seen him alive and been there when they said, Jerry, we have your DNA on the blanket you wrapped the victim with. Your butt is going to jail or the electric chair. I'd like to have seen that cocky smirk come off of his face.
Sir, that is called a mustache, but we agree with you in sentiment.
Yeah, we do. We agree. Now experts are wondering if Jerry Johns is indeed responsible for all of the redhead murders, or if this was the work of multiple killers. Quote, at this current time, we have not made any connections anywhere in the nation connecting Johns specifically by forensic evidence to another case. But we are definitely open to the possibility that he could have killed before Miss Farmer and before the victim here in Knox County was assaulted.
Well, I mean,
So
he
other case
definitely had
meaning-
assault. I mean, yeah.
So what I left out of the context in here is that they mean other case outside of the 4 at the top that we went through that have been connected to him.
Okay.
So they have him on at least 4. He's dead, but they've connected him
To 4.
concretely, and they're continuing to look into more
Right.
of these, like, we're not sure, and they can't connect to those other cases.
Maybe because the victim's remains were too badly decomposed.
Exactly.
Or
it could have been
forensic
someone
evidence
else.
wasn't properly collected at the time because that technology
Right.
didn't exist.
Exactly. So we might not ever fucking know. The special agent said that the FBI is actively working on all of its unidentified female homicide victims to ensure their DNA profiles are submitted and available in the national database accessible to law enforcement. Quote, we're going back over cold cases that may have similar facts to them to see that evidence has been submitted, he said. We're doing that with all of our cold cases. So there is a real possibility they'll find that Johns may have committed far more killings than the 11 that are potentially linked to him. But this is a last quote from this investigator. He said, but in the end, that will come down to good law enforcement work as well as help from the public. So, like, we might not ever fucking know. Like, this was long enough ago that a lot of people connected to these victims who were already estranged from their families. So, like, distant relatives are likely dead. It's just like,
Well,
it's just
maybe,
senseless and tragic.
like all this Ancestry.com DNA testing has clearly been proving recently to just
Seriously.
help solve mysteries.
I respect anybody's approach to wanting to share their DNA information
Or not
and
share.
make that accessible to
Or
law
not
enforcement.
share.
That's what I'm saying. Whether or not you want to share is 100% your right, like your choice. I understand the apprehension, and I also have apprehension about sharing that information. And then I read about cases like this,
Right.
and it really it shifts my perspective.
I see
It's like,
both sides. I've already made my choice, but I
Right.
see both sides.
and it's like I'm already fucking tracked all the time by every.
Right.
We're already under surveillance constantly, so like, what's a little DNA?
Never
That's
had
how
60
I
blood
million
drawn.
cameras.
I've had, I've had my blood drawn. The hospitals have my DNA. Like, I don't know. But like I said, I really do understand. I don't want to fucking hand shit over to law enforcement either, so I get it.
Right, I get both
But-
sides, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, this stuff just makes me so sad, and I do really hope that a thread is connected so that any remaining, like, surviving members of these families can get some closure.
Yeah. Wow, what a heavy
We fucking went there today, y'all.
episode.
We fucking went there.
Thank you to
We
our
did.
our fan sponsor, Rebecca Mitchell,
Rebecca.
for letting us pursue our interests.
Yes, you asked for it, we did it, and we appreciate
It's our
you.
very own fridge in the woods.
Oh
yeah,
my God.
and now we have to contact law enforcement about our friend Lucy.
Yeah, I have approximately 30 new fears now.
They're never going to get me.
I have information.
Okay.
See you next week, maybe.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to Wine and Crime. Our cover art is by Kala Yip, music by Phil Young and Corey Wendell, editing by Jonathan Camp. Check out our website and blog at wineandcrimepodcast.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Wine and Crime Pod. If you have questions, answers, or recommendations to share, email us at wineandcrimepodcast@gmail.com. Episodes are available on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, basically wherever you get your favorite podcasts. And if you like the show, please rate, review, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts. It is the best way to spread the word. If you'd like to show your support, visit our Patreon page to keep this podcast and the wine flowing. Cheers.